Hey, what's up, guys? It is Dad for Gaming here, and if you play Old School Runescape and you've seen one of Crumb's videos like these right here, where these guys are playing on 40 to 100 different accounts at once, and you're wondering how to do this, well, I have got a tutorial for you. When I saw these videos, I instantly had an idea of how they might be doing this. Now, it might not be the exact same method, but it's a method that you could do this, and I decided I'm going to share it with you today. So if you're interested in like random gaming videos and some techie stuff, check out my other videos and subscribe if you want, but otherwise we're just going to hop right into it. So to start off, we're going to be using a program called BlueStacks. Now, BlueStacks is an Android emulator, and what that means is it essentially allows you to run the Android operating system on your computer. Now, if you've used BlueStacks before, you might know where I'm going with this, but what you're going to want to do is download BlueStacks 5. They recently came out with BlueStacks 10. This is their cloud version. We don't want that. We want BlueStacks 5. And you can download the installer exe and install it. If you're curious on how to root BlueStacks, like you want to use Game Guardian or other memory editing software on your Android device or anything else that you could use a root, I do have a tutorial here on how to get that set up. And you can check that out. I'll also leave it in the description. So once you have BlueStacks installed, what you're going to want to do is open it up. And this is our Android instance right here. So basically, it's just like an Android device, and they've got a bunch of ad apps automatically installed. So what we're going to want to do is open up, come over here on the right, the multi-instance manager. And this is going to show us the different Android instances that we have created. So these are Nugget 32-bit. This is like Android 7, I believe. And RuneScape actually requires Android 8. So go ahead and close that. And what we're going to do is create a new instance. We're going to create a fresh instance, and we're going to use Pi 64-bit. So you might need to have a 64-bit PC for this, just a fair warning. Now we're going to come in here, and it's probably a good idea. I mean, I'm going to be testing this and showing you guys on roughly 3 to 4 accounts on how they do this, but it might be a good idea to lower the CPU cores and the memory allocation, as well as the DPI and the resolution of each instance. You can do this after you've created the instance and kind of play around with it, but if you notice that it's really lagging your PC, you should come in and change these settings once you already have the instances set up. It would be better to get this figured out beforehand though, because we're going to end up cloning this instance in a second. So once we have that set up, it's going to download some additional files. Alright, now that instance is done, it has been created. We're going to come in here and we're going to rename this so that way we know which instance it is. We're going to call it OSRS 1. Now, ideally, we're going to get this set up before we start cloning them. So we're going to start it up once. It came up on my other screen. It's going to boot up right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to manually install RuneScape. So the fastest way to do this is to actually get the RuneScape APK off the internet. I use this site right here, rawapk.com. Some of these sites are a little bit sketchy when you download, so make sure whatever file you download, it does end with the extension .apk, but you really shouldn't have any issues, especially since you'll be installing it to the emulator device and not your computer. So I have this downloaded on my PC already. There's a bunch of these different types of sites out there though, and this is the latest version that just came out a few days ago. So once I have that downloaded, I'm going to install that onto our BlueStacks instance. So over here on the right, we can come over here and do install APK. And so this top one is the one that I got working. And it will now have installed Old School Runescape. Perfect. Just so you know, if you get an error when you're trying to install saying that the game cannot be installed, either the APK is corrupt or doesn't work, or you're not using the Pi Android version and you're using Nugget, okay? Because you will not be able to install it to a Nugget instance. So now that we have RuneScape installed on that instance, we're going to go ahead and clone this instance. So essentially, you're going to want to make as many clones of this as you want accounts running at the same time. And it's going to be a little bit tricky. I tried to create like 10 RuneScape accounts at once, but Google doesn't like it when you create that many Gmail accounts. Figures, right? And neither does Jagex. So I think that's going to be a little bit tricky if you want to actually create 100 different accounts, but you know, it's up to you. So we're going to come in here and clone it. New instance, clone instance, and we are going to select our OSRS 1. And I'm just going to keep everything the same. Like I said, I'm going to be showing you on 3 instances, so it'll be pretty manageable, but it's something you're going to have to play around with. I really didn't want to spend, 4 or 5 hours just creating accounts in RuneScape to show you what it would look like with 100 accounts, but the same methodology applies. It doesn't matter. This is very scalable. So we're going to create one more instance. We'll clone it. Make sure we select our OSRS 1 and then create. And then double check they should all be Pi 64-bit. If you accidentally select the default, that's the nugget. And then this rooted one I have for just rooted devices. We'll call this OSRS 3. Right. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start up all 3 of these instances. And 2 of them started up over here. It's important to note one thing that one of the guys said in the interview with Crumb is that Jagex will only allow you to log in from with 10 accounts from the same IP or something along those lines. So it could be a little bit tricky to get around that, but you could look up a free VPN service online. I'm not going to plug any of those services that are usually on YouTube because I really don't think they're necessary. You can find free VPNs. So you could use this VPN to essentially circumvent that multi-IP login. It is going to drastically affect the amount of time it takes you to set up your account. Okay, so we should have all 3 of them open now. And see, the purpose of us getting RuneScape on there beforehand is now all 3 of them already have RuneScape on the device. Now the tricky thing is going to be logging into these devices as well, because you're going to essentially have to log into them and then log into all of them before your the login timeout begins. All right, now we are in the game. I am setting up the display names for these accounts. Decided to go with DatFro Army because why not? Set these up. All right, and now for the content creation, I don't want these guys to look like default, so I'm just gonna go in and set some random. Confirm, confirm, confirm. And now we are all in the same place, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sync up these instances. This is a neat feature in BlueStacks that you can do right here on the side, sync operations, and we can select all of the active instances and start sync. Now, if I control one instance, it is going to control them all. See? So if you're getting this set up and you've already done the one-time setup, this is going to be a really easy way to get through Tutorial Island on all of the accounts simultaneously. But one thing you can also do is you're going to have to set up the camera angle and the position of your bots to be the exact same across all of your devices anytime you do this in the future, right? And so now that we have the sync set up, you could theoretically resize a bunch of these to be super small, right? And then you could just choose to play on, whoops, I guess I made this the master instance, didn't I? Yeah. So you could set up these other ones to be super small and then just have your master instance be big. So getting started, let's go and talk to them. Right, and now we can go through everything all at once. Now, I've looked at the rules on this. I can't really find anything explicit on Jagex's website. Oh, please turn off the music. Thank goodness. Oh, we didn't get one of them. Uh-oh. See, so this one might already be out of sync because I tried to manually control that. Anyways, I looked on their website and I don't believe this would fall under botting because, you know, we are manually playing with all of these accounts technically at once. Could it be considered a form of automation? You know, I'm not sure. It possibly could. It really could. And so I screwed up this instance right here because it's already out of sync with the other ones. That's going to be difficult to fix. So now look, they're all no longer on the same tile. So let's try and sync them up. Let's get them all on this tile right here. And then let's all get their cameras zoomed out to the very maximum. Just like that. Okay, they should be in sync now again. Just funny because some of them don't quite want to do the exact same pathing, but that's all right. As you can see, it'll be pretty easy for these accounts to get out of sync. So you may want to come up with a better method for keeping them all in sync, such as, you know, all performing the same action at the same time. All right, they should all be in sync again. All right, yeah. Now we can come over here, talk to them. And this is basically it. I mean, this is how you could theoretically play with up to 100 counts at the same time. Granted, you might have to use a VPN on some of them if Jagex really does have a limit on the number of IPs connected. One thing to note, I think it would be pretty hard to do many tasks all at the same time. Like, combat isn't necessarily going to work. You know, even chopping trees, I don't think two accounts can chop the same tree at the same time, so they might have to be spread across the world if you actually want them to be useful in anything. But if you leveled up the bots on separate free-to-play worlds, I don't even think there's that many free-to-play worlds that you could use, but you could then bring them all to the same world and, you know, kind of parade them around like this. I'm sure if we had more, it would look more like the parade in the videos, but it's not too important to me. Anyways, that is it for this video. As you can tell, it is a little bit buggy. There might be a better way to do this. If you know of another way to do this, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Other than that, that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day.